with projects and such. So, let's see. Visitors? No visitors.
Antonia's supposed to come to present her design, but I think it's not until like further down anyways.
Okay.
So
Yeah, okay, perfect. And then, so go ahead and take a few minutes to look at the minutes, because I know with the craziness, the emails, we didn't have a chance to look at them at home. Excuse me.
Oh yeah, there's been all those server issues.
Yeah, they were down for a couple of days. And then, Dawn, is it possible for you to email me the minutes? Because what I've been doing is keeping a copy on a Google Drive.
Okay.
That I'm going to, and I keep saying this, just trying to find the time, I'm going to create a Gmail account specific for the Arts and Cultural Commission.
Okay.
So that way we can keep all of our meeting notes and photographs and all that fun stuff.
Okay, so you just want those 3 months of minutes?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm signing in.
Oh, yeah.
Margaret's not here either. So she was supposed to bring her the design.
Right there. You just came in.
Oh.
Oh, that's fine timing.
We're all good. So we don't have a quorum tonight.
Yeah, I saw the emails.
Everyone's
It's
sick.
that winter time,
Yeah.
Yep.
everybody's sick. I know, we've been trying to stay healthy at the library too.
Like, I'm gonna start carrying my can of Lysol with me, and my hand
Yes.
sanitizer, and my wipes.
Well, when you work with the public, it's
Well,
really important.
Allie's down for the count right now.
Hey there.
Hey, how are ya?
Great, and you?
Good, good.
Good,
Good to see ya. Yeah, you too.
Are you staying warm down there at the marina?
Oh, yeah. I got a heater in there, that's for sure.
I was gonna say that winter dampness must be pretty penetrating.
It is.
Oh, my goodness, the chairs.
You just got shorter.
So, else might come?
Nobody?
This is it.
Yeah, this
for
is it.
today.
We need to hear from everybody finally.
Yes, yeah. Maggie is still down an employee, so she had to cover a shift. And then Ken and Jenna are both ill. And then Carly had a last-minute family conflict, so.
So,
Yeah, so we're not going to be making any decisions tonight. We're just going to basically update for the next meeting, so. But if it seems pressing enough, I'll look into maybe doing I don't like calling them emergencies, but
Special meeting.
Special meeting, thank you, yeah. We'll look at doing a special meeting.
I talked to Matt today and asked him when my budget, regular budget is due to him, and he said the end of February, so
So we'd do that before then?
you might, I don't know if your timetable with him is different. Because mine's general fund and yours is community enhancement.
We've already talked, didn't we review all that in one of our last year's meetings? Yeah. And he hasn't mentioned anything to me about needing me to do anything else. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from September, October, and December of 2019? Oh, can we do that? No, we can't, huh?
We can't really do
Sorry,
minutes.
sorry. Okay, so we'll just table that for the next meeting. Did you all look at the fiscal report? I took a quick glance. Any questions? Everything looked good? Everything looked good to me. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move on to the Riverfront Art Pieces. Is that the one that,
That was the temporary one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what she had presented.
yes, and I encouraged her to attend the December Arts and Conversation event,
Mhm.
and she was not able to, I guess. I didn't hear back from her. I haven't received any updates, so I'm not really sure what's going on at this point.
I'm not either.
And I thought she left her information in the sign-in sheet, but I didn't see anything,
you talking about Rachel?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
I went to a meeting that she had with a couple of the people from the Columbia Arts Guild.
Mm-hmm.
And she must have had a similar conversation here the night that she met with you guys, and I wasn't here. But she was, she met with them the night that you guys had your coffee at Starbucks.
Okay.
And she was just trying to identify resources, people they knew, their willingness to maybe help research. Like, there was one person in the group that said that they knew someone who did labyrinths out at the beach in the sand, and thought maybe they might be a resource for, you know, a labyrinth, a temporary labyrinth here. And so it was just really a very free-form discussion. One of the people in the group, though, is out of the country till the end of February, and, you know, I didn't come away with the meeting with an assignment, and I'm not sure the others probably had kind of a loose expectation to go find out things. So I can't really say where it is either.
Yeah, that's why I had encouraged her to kind of keep us in the loop, because I think she was wanting feedback from us as well.
We did
Excuse
have
me.
a couple of suggestions at the last meeting, Patrick. I know you said you would reach out to Scrap. Did you?
Oh, no, I didn't get a chance to reach out to
And then I know that Jenna had said she would reach out to Glean, or Glean,
I did see that in
which-
the minutes.
create sculptures. So that might be something that we could do before the next meeting, is just look at different
Mhm.
resources.
And I think our only concern with the whole display was insurance on it, right?
Well, we
Because-
had a couple of different ones. One was, we want to make sure that whatever we choose,
Oh, what, like,
if,
gets put out there?
yeah, well, because it could be temporary more than anything, is we wanted to make sure we weren't investing too much into a project that could potentially be torn down.
Mm-hmm.
So we were advising on different types of art that maybe eventually washes away, you know, just ideas, so that way it'd make more sense, you know, once the construction ever happens,
Mm-hmm.
then the community understands that this was only a temporary project. And, you know, I think we were talking maybe even relocating it,
Or auctioning, I think.
yeah, so there were still a lot of ideas floating around. It's
Yeah,
just,
it was just getting the ball rolling on.
exactly, finding out like what stage is she at right now? Is she still looking at getting ideas? Does she have all the information she needs? And that way,
Mhm.
And she still needs to figure out fundraising too.
yeah.
I think it's really in the very earliest formation.
Patrick, where were you going to look for her? What was that?
About Scrap, reaching out to Scrap, because they've done like different little art festival things of like bringing supplies and like an event on the day.
Another idea I had was, I think the last name is Darty, the one who did the sculptures at Arenco Nature Woods Park
Mm.
or something. Are you
Mhm.
familiar with those?
I know,
That might be
I haven't
something
seen it, but
we
yeah.
could do.
Which ones?
I think the last name is Darty, the name of the artist. He's a sculpture artist who creates temporary
Are
sculptures.
they the ones out of wood?
twigs.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've seen the pictures of
Are they
those.
the ones that look like the big faces? Okay, yeah, I know which
So
one.
that might be something worth
Yeah.
looking into as well.
And then what was Jenna gonna look into?
Glean, or Glean.
Yeah, they big old acronym.
Did she talk to you guys about the fact that there was gonna be some cast-off stuff on the Boise property, like industrial things?
She did say that.
Yeah, and that maybe people could use that in creating sculptures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just, there's nothing much else that we can do at this point until she comes back to us and has an update. So I think I'm gonna say we can go ahead and remove this off of the agenda until she reaches out back to us. Yeah,
Or put it in the parking lot.
yeah, parking lot, there you go. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and talk about the book drops.
Thank you for coming today. If you want.
Yeah, I was just, I'm looking across the way.
So they haven't had a chance, I was the one who called you.
Oh, okay. It must be, yeah.
Yes. So they haven't had a chance yet to look at the concept. If you wanted to join us at the pod.
Well, I'll come over too. Gonna be all by my lonesome. I.
Pass them around. Or you looked at them? You've seen them?
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
'cause
it
it got delivered to me.
Oh, okay.
After Matt
Thank you.
saw it, he brought it over.
They're just rough sketches, I don't.
Oh, no, I was just, I couldn't tell if I had.
Those are the ones that were the samples, right?
And those are samples of my artwork, yeah.
That's cool, the shelves, yeah.
So my only question is, I know you said you could do it in the summer. Is there a reason why you can't do it sooner if you're chosen?
Oh, yeah, I probably could, but that would seem to me like a good timeline. I wouldn't
Mhm.
sort of squash myself into
Mhm.
after work. So,
Mhm.
but I could probably have it done before then, but I just didn't want to commit to something that you know.
The reason, it's a question for me, is that in the summer, it's when the kids are out of school and we have summer reading.
Yeah,
And if we're down to one book drop,
I understand.
then we'll have to empty it more often. We just empty it in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably get done. I mean, once we've decided, and
Mhm.
I think I could probably. I'm going to England at the end of March, but I'll be back in April, so that will give me May to work on them. So I mean, I potentially could have it close to being done before
Yeah.
school gets out.
It's a nice to. It's not a have to. It
Yes.
just means the staff would have to empty the book drop more often.
Yeah.
And if we had like a long weekend, well, I don't know where July 4th, yeah, I've seen all of it. I don't know where July 4th lands, but sometimes when we have a long weekend, we'll have to get somebody to come in and empty the book drop because, the library's closed. Stretch.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could have it done before summer. I work pretty quick once I get going, so. But, yeah, so basically the idea was just to make the book drops themselves just have bookshelves in them, and then.
Mhm.
My question though was copyright.
That's an issue. When we were talking about book spines, the lettering on the spine, as I recall, the people that did the research said that would not be copyrighted. But if you tried to, I think if you tried to closely replicate exactly what somebody else's art, that
Well-
would be a problem.
That would be a problem, that's what I thought. So
Yeah.
if
But I
I
mean-
was to do, but the problem is where the wild things are, is where the wild things are.
That's
Do you know
right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if like with Charlotte's Web, if you have a spider and a spider web and a pig,
That's pretty open game.
that seems a little
Well,
bit more generic to me
Well, it would
than.
be my own pig.
Yeah.
My own. I wouldn't copy anybody else's artwork.
Yeah, it's tricky though when you're doing like a book that's focused so much on illustrations, like where the wild things are.
Because that's
That's
very.
so much Maurice Sendak
That's very
characters, yeah.
specific characters, but
Yeah.
I could probably work out how to get around that too.
Now, you could tell her about your husband's experience.
Yeah, I don't know if you were familiar about the Little Free Libraries that replaced, there was one in
Yes,
Godfrey
yes,
Park.
yes. Mhm.
Yeah, so he actually contacted their Dr. Seuss characters, but that one was actually their art that he copied.
Mhm.
But we were approved to use it, so we had contacted the publisher and they said that it was okay. And then there was also the classification that it was fan art, or what was that like?
It was fan art or something.
Yeah,
like that,
That that would be okay.
Yeah, because I also did a little research on my own just to familiarize herself for any future projects. And the idea where her husband got the little free library for the Dr. Seuss, I reached out to that specific organization. And fortunately, both him and his wife are well versed in law, as well as art, because they're both artists. And so he broke it down really well, explaining that the way that the artist creates it is considered a fan base, and so they don't necessarily look at it like it's copyright infringement or trademark infringement. But it's just a matter of, again, like you said, if you do your own version of the pig and your own version of the spider, I think there's more leniency. But, you know, not to say that's, and this is just my opinion, never to say that someone might not want to come.
If it's Disney, you
Yeah.
can't touch it.
Yeah,
Which
basically.
yeah, I mean,
And it was our recommendation to her husband to reach out to the Dr. Seuss, the family, whoever owns the rights for the material, just so there wouldn't be any backlash.
But, you know, if you're doing this on every face of the book drop, that's a lot of contacting.
Mm-hmm.
It can get pretty complicated pretty fast if
So
you're,
the research was that it was okay to do it for the spines, but not for the like imagery from the book.
right, but if she's trying to put characters from the book on the shelf, that
yeah, because
starts
what
to-
are the,
As opposed to just words.
Yeah.
yeah, what's
Or a
the-
list of names, yeah.
Yeah, what's the list? Another list?
There was quite a few.
Yeah, I mean, I thought if I did 3 shelves or 2 shelves,
Mm-hmm.
even 2 shelves would cover, so 2, 4, 6, 8 books for each side.
And I think as long as you're not, the only thing you'd come in trouble with is if it's a character that's like copyrighted. If you represent the idea of the book, that's pretty fair use. Like for Where the Wild Things Are, it could be like a jungle and like a shadow. If it's
Yeah.
not the actual character represented, then I think you're
Yeah.
fine.
And I think, like, just based on the fact that it is a bookshelf with a book and the character, that's an original concept.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that be classified as not?
I would think that would be considered as fan base. I mean,
The thing would be, we need to be sure. And maybe some of these have the same publisher and we can contact a single publisher and touch on several ones. But my guess is an author might be more generous than their publisher. Their publishers are trained to just say no.
Right. I mean, Harry Potter, nobody knows J.K. Rowling, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but her publisher might have a say on
Warner
how it's
Brothers.
used.
Yeah.
My experience has been with authors is like you'll contact their publisher and they'll give you this exorbitant price for them to come visit the library. And then, but if you ever bump into the author and say, do you ever visit libraries? It's like, well, sure, I'll come out to your library. I mean, we're talking
Yeah.
Portland-based authors. And they go, sure, and
Right.
it's suddenly affordable. But if you talk to Random House, they say,
Yeah, because they want
big dollars and travel expenses and all this other stuff, so.
The biggest thing to do is look up the fair use law, which covers all this, where you don't have to contact a publisher before using copyrighted material. But there's a lot of little ticky tacks on that, so
'Cause I did
if we
a,
just look up fair use, we can come up with a pretty good.
I did a painting that's hanging in the Columbia Theater now
Mhm.
of the Lion King,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and that seemed to be okay because
It was
the
up-
Lion King was on the marquee, and then
Yeah.
I painted a lion standing
saw that
in the
one.
street.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like a line from the actual movie. or
No, it
anything.
wasn't, it was
just
a,
a-
just, yes,
yeah.
a generic lion, so.
Or maybe you can do a back view of Max.
Well, exactly, I mean, I tried to work it that I could do it,
Mhm.
Or maybe there's some bushes and there's a long tail.
exactly,
Coming out of the bushes.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, stuff like that,
There's some
or,
ears.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, so, and then, what's, Night, is that one of them? With Ely Wiesel's book, what was that?
Oh, well, that's pretty grim.
Yeah,
That's about the Holocaust.
right, that was
Is
on
that
the
one of the
list.
book titles on there?
That was one on the
Oh,
That's
boy.
list.
one of the adult titles.
Oh.
Teenage title.
So there might be just like a shelf where it's just the spines of books that
Yes,
we
exactly.
wouldn't really want to represent. Like
Yeah. I mean, there are some, well, yeah, I mean, you can just.
have the more whimsical ones on the
Make it
front and then fill in the back
If
bookshelves.
you- Yeah, if people
The-
wanted that book on there.
Yeah.
One of the other stipulations that was that all 4 sides had to be painted, but because we don't always know what will happen with the book drops. We used to have 3, and then one of them just really was in disrepair, so we got rid of it and moved another one that was in a separate location over next to it. In truth, the two of them are, you know, they're about this far apart,
So,
and it seems, on the one hand, wasteful to paint a great deal of detail on those two faces, knowing that they're not gonna be seen. But on the other hand, if on the chance that, you know, one of them gets hit by a car and we have to remove it, and we have that one sitting there by itself, it's nice to have something on that face. But as, you know, just in knowing how we use it, it might be, there's some thought should maybe be given into not expending a lot of effort on those two inside faces.
right, I thought I could just paint.
And I thought with this
paint
concept,
shells and just.
I would just
the
paint
book.
our shelves are just wood panel, just like a faux
Yeah,
wood.
exact, fake
Mhm.
wood or
Yeah.
something like that, yeah, exactly. Or I could do, those little, drawers that they used to use, remember, for.
Oh, library card drawers, yeah.
Catalogs.
Drawers.
I have a question for you. I know there was some chaos when the email system went down. Do we have any more submissions for this project?
That's what I
or-
wanted to, and Matt said no.
No.
So that's,
Okay.
Did you want to extend to allow for others to have an opportunity, just in case they may have forgotten? Because you guys did this over the holiday, correct?
it's been running since the beginning of December.
Okay.
So I am fine either way. So that's something that I wanted to bring up to see what you thought.
I mean, I guess we can, since we can't even make a decision tonight, but I love the concepts.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clever.
I mean, either way, I'm fine either way with whatever. If you wanna go ahead and extend it, it's fine with me. I mean, I don't.
But we'll probably have to do a extra meeting before your budget, is what you're saying?
I don't know what Matt's time frame is for you to give him a budget.
Okay.
He hasn't mentioned anything to me, and he had come to one of our meetings, and we briefly discussed budget, and since we didn't have a whole lot going on, he had gone ahead and plugged in numbers that were, and hit what he was saying, similar to what we've done in the past, so there wasn't too much he had to make changes on.
Okay, so you're probably okay.
Yeah, because I think if we needed to do something, he would have reached out to me, and I've met him, even before this meeting, to discuss the fundraising stuff. I was trying to remember, like, what did I talk to him about? And I think he would have mentioned, hey, we need to talk
Okay,
about
okay.
budget if I was there.
I just didn't know what your timeline
And
was.
these are metal, right? Are they?
Yes,
Okay.
and,
I saw you had some color swatches that came with the package. I wasn't sure
Yes.
what that was about.
those are color swatches from the building.
Mhm.
The building was painted about a year or so ago. And the reason they were included was because we didn't want this to be of such a different color palette that it didn't somehow blend with the building. The building
Okay.
has, the base color is that lighter brown, then most of the trim is the darker brown, and then their accent in that marine blue.
Yeah.
And my thought in talking with Kim and including that was that if you suddenly did something that was Kelly green and, you know, royal blue, it might look like it stuck out in front of
Right.
the building. So that was just kind of as a guide to kind of
Fine, like
choose
complementary.
colors,
Yeah,
that kind
okay.
of
I mean, obviously,
accented the building.
the kids wanted, I mean, you see how my
Mhm.
artwork is pretty bright. I mean,
Yeah.
so it would be.
But I think with like, and then the brown accents of like the shells, I'm guessing. is
Yeah,
what it
they're
would
gonna
be.
be, yeah,
I think it
that
would
could
look
do, it
nice.
would, yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah, it was definitely something fun. The one thing about the book drops is that they are, they're old, and this will give them some new life. Replacements are very, very, very expensive.
mhm.
It's crazy. I don't know why one of these things has to cost $7,000, but that's what a new one would
Yeah.
cost.
That's why it's a good idea just to paint
Fresh 'em.
over them.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's an
So
old book drop.
And
let's
as I-
address the, do you want to go ahead? Because this this is really up to you. This doesn't have to be an ACC decision.
I would be inclined to move forward. Like, I know we can't make the decision today, but I really like your work, and I would be inclined later on to vote to move forward
Okay.
with her project.
Okay.
So just because we haven't received any others, you verified the email.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did, I talked to
You mean,
Matt.
how long was it open? It was like 2 or 3 months, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I'm
I think
kinda
we put it out.
surprised.
Yeah.
This,
Well, and that's why I was wondering, did people miss it because it was the holidays?
Out of curiosity, how did you find it?
well, actually, Anda Chang is a friend of mine. They have a boat down. She said, "Did you see this?" And I said, "Oh no, I didn't." So she gave me a heads up. So
There you go.
Well, somebody, I thought, I saw some comment on the Facebook page to somebody, well, you ought to do this, and I thought, well,
Yeah.
that's probably somebody that did a trash can.
I saw a few of those. I mean, we send it out
I
to a
saw
lot
it in
of
the paper
artists.
too. I did see it in the paper. As
Okay.
Well,
So
did
it
see
went out pretty far and wide,
went out,
and
yeah.
my husband and I ourselves sent it to a whole bunch of artists.
What's your husband's name?
Thomas O'Hanlon.
Okay, okay, yeah. All right, I've heard of it. Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
remember somebody vandalized it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why we had to move it to Godfrey.
It's unfortunate.
Okay, so then you want to go ahead and just table it? Because
Yeah.
it sounds like with us having a non-quorum tonight, we're going to probably looking to needing to do a special, a special session meeting.
Okay.
So start thinking about that in the back of your head so we can get that
And
done.
then at that time, we can make the decision to
Okay.
to move
Yeah, I
forward.
mean, like I said, if you want to go ahead and continue, it's all good.
Where would your workspace be?
Either up at my house or at the marina. I usually, when I did that banner of the otter and the salmon, I did that down at the marina while I was at work. Because there's nothing else to do. Just wait for
But-
somebody to come and get gas.
Right. I just wondered about, we can probably get it on a hand truck.
And I have a pickup truck, I could just.
I know,
put-
but you've got to get it down to the marina.
Oh, I got plenty of help.
Okay.
I got plenty of guys down there that would help me if I did take it down there to do
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'd just take it up to my house and do it up there.
And then, did it talk about the graffiti coating?
We did include that, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not very familiar with that, so I might need some help with that if, when it's all said and done as to, I've never put graffiti coating on anything, so I'm
Might
not
have to
sure
do
if
like a
there's
test swatch.
there's a
Yeah,
trick to that
I
or.
knew that we had done it to trash cans before, right? Like over
Yeah.
the metal
Yeah.
over
I don't know how it reacts to different types of.
'Cause those trash cans they used
Those are all like acrylic.
latex,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's all like house paint, basically.
I would recommend doing a swatch because, like, when my husband, he paints too, and he put it on there and then it bubbled up.
Yeah,
So that's not
exactly, so-
something that we would want after.
Yeah, after you've done all that work, and then.
Yeah.
And to have a gooey glob on it?
Yeah.
But I do find that most people who do graffiti tend not to do it on
On art,
artwork.
yeah.
or something.
Yeah, typically not.
Typically not.
Yeah.
But as I've always said, when I've done projects for the city, as long as I'm here, I'll maintain it
And
and
you can touch it up and.
touch it up and take care of
Mhm.
it. I don't have a problem doing that at any time. So
Didn't some of the trash cans get tagged?
A little bit, yeah, the ones in McCormick Park, so the ones that were out of, where you're in privacy. But I don't think at the library where you get so much traffic.
They're right in front and center, so. But we can test it and see how the graffiti coating
Yeah, and
works.
could make a final decision. It's just, I would hate after all that work for it to.
Yeah.
yeah, stuff like that happen, and I don't have a problem going to fix it. I'd fix it for sure.
Yeah, I've worked with different fixatives on pieces and it's always kind of
Yeah.
scary putting it on because you don't know what it's going to do to your
Yeah.
colors and.
Yeah, and I haven't actually quite come up with which. Once I get a good look at them and
Mhm.
to know, I worked with that sign paint that was on those, but those things were aluminium, and that's a big difference from regular metal because
Mhm.
aluminum's just kind of it's a breathing metal, so it
Mhm.
just kind of pushes the paint off. So you have to be.
Yeah.
That's why we had to use that. I think that's why that banner failed, because whatever that artist did used latex, and you could see it just kind of
Yeah, it'll flex.
It just peeled right
Yeah.
off.
Mhm.
It just became
Yeah.
a giant,
I don't think she prepped the surface.
Yeah.
and it wasn't metal paint for sure. So, but anyway, course,
presenting
yeah,
it.
well,
you.
Did you want
yeah.
to take back your
Do-
mock-up? I don't think,
Do we
unless
wanna
do
keep it?
Yeah, you
the
might want
rest
to.
of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say
You're
we should
welcome to
probably
keep
keep
it.
it.
Hold
so
on to that,
way
yeah, thank you.
We can show it to them for next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been working on a mural at the Running Dog. You should go check it out.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, the wild dogs.
Mhm.
Running with the wild dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a new one?
Mhm.
Was the original one yours?
Yeah,
The one with the guy on the motorcycle?
yeah, that one. Mike, I did that a long time ago. I'm trying to make it not look like a serial killer, but every time I look at him, I'm like, a serial killer.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so much.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Take care.
All
Okay.
right, bye-bye.
So, moving on to traffic wraps. Last meeting we had, I did ask if someone wanted to take over the project, and no one had said anything as of yet. It's a pretty simple project. I have not moved forward with anything on it just yet. So, and with us not having everyone here, I'm gonna table this one until the February special meeting.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead and I'll just start making some initial calls and start getting some budgetary information, so, because I know we were all really excited when this was presented to us, so I'm getting the feeling that this is something we'd like to have done, it's just getting it done.
Yeah, I
So-
think one of the barriers to it was because it was $5,000 or something, so it was suggested to contact local printers and maybe put out an RFP.
I don't remember getting a cost on this one. She had just spoken to them, but she wasn't sure of the cost.
She gave
because
like a
it was-
budget in the first one, but it was like, don't
She
ring.
had
remember.
said $5,000,
Oh,
but it
yeah.
was an estimate. But
Okay.
I think the biggest concern with that was, we don't want to consume the whole budget.
No, but I'll reach out to them again, and then we'll see how it works out, and I mean,
We still need money to pay
Yeah,
the artists. that's
we're-
gonna do it, yeah.
we're working on fundraising, so that's something that we can dabble with as well. Okay, so we're done with traffic wraps. The greeting tour mural project,
I know that
so.
Ken has updates on that. He spent time meeting with them
Yeah.
to get some
Mhm.
pricing, and then they're going to be here in May. So I'm anticipating that that's a little bit too soon for us to raise all of that money. But
Well, I'm not gonna guess on that, just yet. Because I was just given some really neat information last night. Apparently in Claskenai, there is a group trying to do some murals down there. And so a friend of mine, we were talking about art and stuff, she gave me a suggestion of maybe talking to those individuals and seeing if maybe there's a grant out there that we can do for Columbia County, which we could potentially include this project under. So I'm going to reach out to Ken and give him that information and see what
maybe
potentially.
we can get something going.
Yeah, because if we're looking at something more big scale like that for grants and such, I don't know what's out there.
Yeah, I just think
So.
we can't go local with those types of grants because those are like 1,200.
Yeah, they're for smaller. I mean, it's nice to get them, but
We have to look a little bit
I'd
bigger.
like to see, and I don't know because I'm not a grant person. I've stepped away from all that. If we could just apply for grants as the commission, but I know some of them do need to have a specific project attached. So I don't know. That's something to look into. And then I was talking to William Blank, and he is, if you're familiar with they're not a tourism board per se, but it was a group of local businesses, local organizations that got together with an idea of trying to put together like a tourism board, and it was done through the county. So that's why they were able to get like people from Vernonia, Scappoose, St. Helens, Rainier, Claskenai, and they are still going. So their next phase, he said, is that they're starting to looking for ways to implement all the strategies that they put together. And I mentioned this to him, and he encouraged to attend the next meeting. So I think it's in February. I gotta confirm that with him, but I'm gonna mention that to Ken as well. So he can talk to them and say, hey, here's what we're trying to do. and see maybe if there's some business support, or maybe they know of something that we don't, so.
Do you know who chairs that committee?
No, I don't, because I'm not involved with it. So I went to one meeting on behalf of Cycle Columbia County, when they had the one consultant out of Portland who works to help bring together, and structure the groups.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah, but after that, because I wasn't, part of the original core group that was invited, I was out of the loop with any other information, so. But they've been in the back of my mind, so that's why I thought it would be good to talk to them and see what, if anything, we may be able to do with them. Okay, so we'll get a more updated, information from Ken, probably at the special meeting. Okay, and now we're gonna move on to Little Free Libraries.
Okay, so at the last meeting, I know
Mhm.
that I had passed it off to Jenna, and that wasn't in the minutes, but
Okay.
when I reviewed it, but she had agreed to go pick them up. I sent her all of the information after the last meeting, but I haven't heard anything back on it. So
Okay.
I'm gonna touch base with her just to follow up to see if that's happened, so that way we at least have some place to house them, and then
Yeah.
put out the RFP.
Mhm.
Okay.
I can't remember if she said that she was going to draft up the RFP as well.
I don't remember.
She said something about doing that, yeah.
These are completed.
Yeah, and they just left them plain.
And where are they?
They're just at the high school, so we'd need to pick them up and find a place to put them in the meantime.
And would this include the one that's already installed, or just the two?
Just two new ones.
Yeah, because originally she had a plan of 3. One was what's already been installed, and the other 2 were gonna stay plain, so that way we can do RFPs out to the community, and whoever, is interested, they can doll them up, dress them up, get crazy with them. So now, they're both completed, now we're gonna move on to the next phase, which is putting the RFPs out.
Yeah. I just wondered if you would ever go back and
Oh, and paint.
paint the other one that was installed.
I never understood that to be your original intention. It was just supposed to be
Yeah.
the way it is because it's underneath the tree. All right, okay, Patrick, skateboard bench, what's going on with that?
I reached out to, let me pull up my message. I reached out to, oh my gosh, I can't even think of their name. Barlow Bike Shop.
Okay.
And I asked them if they're interested about being a sponsor partner,
Mm-hmm.
and I was asking if they had like any leads on like, if they've got like used skateboards and stuff like that to use for it. And they said they don't have those, but they said they could help us with obtaining new ones, which are about 25 to 30 a piece for new ones, which I'm kind of, I'd rather get used than
Yeah.
cheap ones. But they were interested in chipping in some kind, depending on like what we might need them on for the bench itself for paint. But I put out like a Craigslist trying to reach for like donations, and then I think I'm gonna try and go to like
So,
different like Goodwills and stuff and try and find used ones.
so did you put a post out on Concerned Citizens?
I didn't put one on Concerned Citizens yet, but I do have one on Craigslist.
I would do that, and then, personally, if you send me the content,
Mm-hmm.
I can share it with a couple of the moms groups I'm in, and there's somebody in there bound to have a kid who's a skateboarder.
I might send you like my basic like gist and
Yeah.
have you like spice up the text.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's more your thing than me.
Yeah, because there's a couple of Columbia County moms groups, and
Mhm.
we
I'm
can
sure they probably
probably-
have stuff in their garage that they would be happy to get rid of.
Husbands that they want to stop skateboarding, or. But I'm sure we
But
can
like
find something.
I'm sure
that-
every kid's like had a skateboard that ends
Yeah.
up in the
Well,
back of the garage.
Because I really like your idea of using the used ones,
Mhm.
because there's a story there.
Yeah.
There's,
I like
it-
the used ones. They have the history on them, like they're worn out,
They're
and
gonna have the stickers, they're
And
gonna
they get
have
a
the
new
funky
life, yeah.
writing, they're gonna have graffiti, I call it graffiti art, but they're gonna have art on it.
yeah.
So though I appreciate that, Barlow Bikes is saying, oh, we can help you get them,
We could always do that
brand
as like
new.
a fill-in if we're missing a couple, but I don't want to
Exactly,
do the whole
yeah.
thing brand new.
No. So my understanding then is that Barlow Bikes is willing to donate paint or money
They just
or however.
said their phrasing, we would be happy to chip in some of that to be part sponsor, see what else we could do, so keep in contact. And we'd love to help out. I was also gonna reach out, I haven't had a chance, to, Art Primo, which is like a graffiti supply. They sell like premium spray paint and stuff, so if they could donate spray paint, if we
Okay.
need to like, and then we could also do an RFP on like a artist to decorate it.
So what's the idea with the bench though? I mean, are we still gonna, the original idea was to get a bunch of skateboards used and then put them together in some way to form the bench, and then the only thing that was going to need to be bought was
Oh, the base bench?
the base bench,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's still available. It's was
Okay.
$122 before shipping for the base bench.
I'm trying to recall, I was under the impression that we allocated funds for that.
I think I
Yeah, I think
estimated my budget at 500.
Okay.
So if I can get the frame, I don't know what the shipping, it'll probably be about, I can imagine being more than 50 or 40 depending on how they ship it. But if I can get supplies donated, then mostly I just have to pay an artist to put it together or paint it. Which, that's the only thing I haven't been able to figure out is like, who would we have assemble it? I mean, I could probably
That-
help if I needed to, but.
Will you have to fill in where the hardware was?
Yeah, basically, it's just a frame, and they would need like little cross beams, and I think it comes with little bolts and screws.
But I mean, the hardware that was originally on the skateboards.
Oh,
Take
Where
the
the
wheels
truck- where the
off,
trucks
it's not
are,
gonna
yeah.
be-
there's just little holes, but
So-
that's part of the character of it.
Well, I know where you're going with this. I mean, if the holes are there
Mm-hmm.
from the trucks,
Mm-hmm.
I think for safety reasons, because I don't want a kid sticking their finger in there, because you know how
Fill 'em
kids
in.
are.
Well, I think they'd have to be
Fill 'em in.
filled in so they don't
Yeah.
take up water and rot.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably are gonna have to coat it somehow so it doesn't have slivers. Because if the boards have been.
Yeah, it would get like
banged
sanded
up-
down.
Yeah, if they've been banged up pretty badly, some of those edges might have
Yeah,
exposed.
it would get sanded down and
Yeah.
then,
I think it's a real
some kinda
clever
clear coat.
idea.
but yeah, the 500 was a pretty modest budget just based on
Yeah.
mostly
Okay.
stuff being
So
donated
then,
materials.
what is your next step with this? Because I know this originated only because the skate park was brought to our attention and we were.
Yeah, this
after
was
they
like a
realized-
secondary thing that we
Yeah, because they
couldn't
realized we
really
weren't
do
gonna be
an
able to do that.
Yeah.
So now we were doing this as kind of a backup.
Mhm. Well, it's mostly just time of waiting for getting materials,
Okay.
just 'cause like,
So then the focus for now is going to be the collection of skateboards.
yeah, the skateboard collection and then
How many skateboards do you approximate are going to be needed?
probably 20,
Okay.
cause it's gonna be a 6-foot long bench. So that way a couple of kids could sit on and also set their gear
Parents.
down, or parents
yeah.
can sit there and yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So if you can just get me that content as soon as possible, and then we'll share it out, and then we'll do our thing.
Sweet.
Okay. All right. So Chalk Art fundraising. I didn't even realize that this was. I know I tossed it out there, but. So I have nothing for that. So we'll pass that, and then I'll make sure to have additional information for the next meeting. Fundraiser update. So we need to go around and visit the spots where we left cards and see if they have money for us. Because I haven't. I
Haven't
didn't
heard
want.
anything.
Yeah, I didn't want to bother them during the holiday, and they're probably waiting for us to reach back out to them,
Yeah,
which is understandable. So I have no problem doing that. So I'll go ahead and reach out to everybody. The really cool little store in the corner. I always forget. I'm so bad with names nowadays. Tussie's Vendor Mall. She still has postcards from 2 years ago.
yeah, the black and white ones.
Yeah. And so the city still had one more pack. They gave it to her. So she wants to sell completely out of those before any other postcards. So I'm like, that's totally cool with me. But also looking into other types of fundraisers, which is where the chalk art got brought up, but I wasn't certain yet if that was something we were gonna be able to do, just trying to gauge time and stuff. But what other ideas would we have? Because I'd like for us to be doing something to bring in some type of money. What that looks like, I don't know, because obviously we can go after grants, but the purpose is for us to be able to help community members who want to bring their projects to life as well. And, you know, having grants is great, but obviously we have to have the grants attached to specific projects for some of them. So I'm thinking if we can somehow raise some money to put in the pot, you know, that might allow us the opportunity to be able to help more community members with city projects.
Well, a few ways that I've raised money before is through raffles, you know, calling local businesses to offer something that we would put a prize in. And let's see, I don't really have a lot of knowledge with fundraising, but that was some of the successful. I've seen a lot of success with it.
And we also have to, you know, and I think this is probably a Matt question, but what can we and can we not do? I mean, from the little bit of conversations I had with him, it seems like there's not very much as far as restrictions go for us. Like I asked him, can we put a bowl out there that says feed me for the arts or something, you know? And he's like, yeah, we can totally do that. And I think we did bring that up for the trunk or treat, but I don't know if Jenna communicated. Yeah, and that was the only question and concern, and I don't know if Jenna ever reached out and asked her specifically for that, because then that would have been a really good opportunity to
I
get
think
some.
we were trying to hear back and we didn't hear back.
You didn't hear back? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
It'd
So,
be kind of awkward though with that event, just because there's so many kids running around. I mean, you might get a couple parents donate, but
I look at it this way, if you got $5, that's $5 more than you had before.
true.
That's,
So as long as they're cool with us having like a little bucket.
yeah, that's my train of thought when it comes to stuff like this. Don't say no for them.
Yeah.
Get the no from them.
Yeah.
Because you could get $100 and be like,
Yeah.
$100 we didn't have before. So yeah, so let's come up and let's see what else we can come up with.
Does the Burgerville still do their night where you?
Burgerville, Maud, all of them, I believe so. Yeah.
So if you had a specific project that you could, like your bench with the picture.
So what did they do, like
No.
10% of proceeds or something?
Yeah, if you could have an event like that where, and you could display the picture, the concept, and people would say, oh gosh, sure, I'll buy a cup of coffee, because I know it'll go toward the bench. Then maybe they're those kinds of things. Somehow I have a feeling Burgerville doesn't do that anymore. Somehow it
I don't know.
sticks in my head that
I don't know if I've seen him do it in a while. I know Maud's done it recently.
Yeah.
They used to, you'd see something on their little reader board all the time about who was serving burgers that night, but I don't see it anymore.
Must have been some logistic thing or something, yeah.
Well, and I think maybe we can, and this could spin into something else, but something similar to the Chalk Art Festival where we get the community involved, you know, they pay a small fee, someone pays a small fee for something. In turn, we get, you know, we raise money back. You know, I don't know what that looks like specifically off the top of my head, but I think those are some other little things that we could do. So, okay.
We could do that with like one more, for the next meeting, come
Yeah.
up with a list of fundraisers.
Well, ideas, yeah.
Exactly. So, since we still have plenty of time, I'm gonna squeeze in a couple of things, before we hit community news. The first thing I have is, and I'm sorry to put this on you, Dawn, but we need to see if we can find the, contract or the agreement for the banners, the ones that are along Plymouth Road. Specifically, of course, the one with the sun on it, because it's broken, and so I want to see if we can reach out to the artist and see if they would like to do something different with it. Because I believe you said that there's a string that they just have to.
It's a little metal thing like you see on a fishing lure, but he's repaired it, I think, twice now.
So we'll reach out to him, because I for one, I'm like, what's the deal with this hole? But then I know that there's a sun in there, and so I'm thinking that should not look like that because the sun should be on there. So that's why I want to reach out to the artist and see what would he like to do, because it's broken again, and we've already, had our city staff go out there and fix it twice now.
One little tidbit, it was a sun on one side and a moon on the other. So it was silver on one side and yellow on the other side. And when the car hit it and knocked it down and we got to replace, they couldn't find the little thing. When the car hit it, it just must have gone airborne.
Yeah.
So we had a new one made, and there was a breakdown in communication, and the whole thing got painted yellow.
Okay.
So when the artist created it, it was just
Yeah,
sun and moon.
compromise since
That's
then.
why it was spinning, because it would be sun and moon,
Yeah.
So if we do get the artist back involved, they'll wonder why it's all yellow. So maybe there's an opportunity to, restore it to what it was supposed to be.
Well, I'm going to suggest to them, doesn't necessarily need to spin. I mean, I love the idea and the concept, but obviously
It's not durable.
it's not durable. Yeah, especially was the artist not made aware that when the car hit, it flew off? I thought we were supposed to give them the first right.
I don't remember
Okay.
the history of how that all unfolded. I just
Okay.
know that, and you'll notice that those waves, there's one that's kind of bent just a little bit. That was all because I think when it hit the ground, I tried to straighten it out. So I don't even know if the artist was contacted.
Okay.
I just know that Public Works had a new disc made.
Okay.
When they gathered up all the parts and pieces off the ground, they
Yeah.
couldn't find the little disc.
Okay. All right. Well, lesson learned, especially after the bench in front of the fire station. I want to make sure that we're reaching out to the artists for things like this, especially because it's broken again, and we're looking for ways for it to not break. And I don't want to make the choices for them
Right.
and
They
then
should be
compromise their vision.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Did the bench get just taken down?
Yes.
Did
The
the,
big stone.
did the pieces get
I
returned?
think they're at, Jamie said she had them, I think. I can't remember.
I don't know.
I remember in the last meeting, someone mentioned that they
Who-
kept like the medallions.
Was it you or Jamie who was supposed to reach out to?
I do not recall that part.
Okay.
I think she said that she
So-
reached out to them.
Do me a favor, because this was originally assigned to you, if you could email Jamie,
Yeah.
CC Dawn and myself,
Yeah.
please?
I'll email
And
Jamie,
this-
and I can't, I remember us talking about it in the meeting,
Yeah,
and she had them, but yeah, that was like right before the holidays, that meeting,
Yeah.
so everything was,
yeah, so just a simple update.
Yeah.
And then, hey, how do we get these back to the artist, so that way.
and
we
if
have
not,
them.
we can just add them to the museum or something.
Well, didn't he, he had his attorney's address. They could certainly be sent to his attorney.
We have both our addresses, I just don't know if it'd be, I wouldn't wanna be rude and ship them to him if he doesn't want them at all, but, I'll follow up on the big stone medallions.
Perfect. All right, let me make a note
At
of
least
that.
give them a right to refuse that they don't want them,
Right.
those are kinda cool.
Yeah, and then I would just simply put in there, if they prefer not to, keep them, we're more than happy to put them in a museum or something like that.
I mean, we got, like, part of the city history now, so.
Yeah. Just make my note here. Okay. All right. But yes, please, Dawn, if you could find that agreement, and that way we can take a look at it and see, because the artist may have said, you guys do whatever you want with it, but I want to verify all of that before we move forward, and so we can make it look pretty again. Thank you. Okay. Another thing I want you guys to start considering is I received a question request from Jenna, asking with how many special meetings we've been having, why don't we go back to the month-to-month? So I'm gonna leave that up to you guys. Think about it. I'm going to encourage Maggie, Ken, Jenna, and Carly to listen to today's meeting. And then I'll shoot them an email and let them know that we touched on this briefly and that we may want to look at doing month to month again. Just because we're starting to see a little more traction with projects and stuff, so. Same thing with summer projects. We are in January, and last year we decided to put a pin on the ever so wonderful Art Commission trash can painting contest. Community, there was some who were sad because it was becoming a really fun tradition for them. Some didn't even notice. So, but we as a commission decided we wanted to do something in place and just kind of,
Moved up something.
yeah, do something different, and not necessarily every year, but maybe every other year. So that way, it seemed like a lot of our time and energy and money were going to this particular project, and there are a lot of trash cans that aren't being used. And so it was gonna solve a couple of problems that were, or concerns that were being raised regarding that particular project. So again, start thinking about what we could do. Do we wanna do it on 4th of July again? Do we wanna do something prior to 4th of July?
It gives us a lot of good exposure because
Mhm.
of how many people are down there.
Yep.
And then, I mean, we have the libraries too. So if we decide not to put out an RFP for those, then we could just, recruit artists or have them apply or put out a flyer or something to do that.
Are you thinking maybe having them there?
Well, I would recruit an artist first and then
Okay.
have it set up. I mean, that's one option.
It'd just be like a live paint thing.
Yeah.
And then
like
maybe
one-
we do something similar with the trash cans. Maybe we have the community vote, which, and then they get like a $200 gift certificate or something. I'm just throwing numbers out
Yeah,
there. Don't-
something, and it doesn't have to be that, but I do see the value in having some project out there. So that way it says, well, the city has
Some
an arts
kind
and
of
cultural.
eye on the thing, yeah.
Because when I was going out to hand out postcards, some people weren't even familiar that we existed.
Yeah.
So, like Sunshine, but.
Oh, that's funny because I've had like 3 meetings there for the
I
Arts and
know.
Cultural Commission.
So,
Too funny.
so
Okay.
it would be just good to.
Okay.
To go back on the summer
Yeah.
thing though, last summer we didn't do our, the county fair, like the year before we
Oh,
went and did
okay.
the county fair special
Yeah,
prizes. And, it just kind of fell through last year because it was like right as Lisa left and everything. And I don't know who we contacted then, so I think I'd have to reach out with Jen.
Okay.
Might have set that up. So I wanna try and figure out who is the contact at the fair,
Mhm.
because I'd like to do like that again.
Oh, yeah, no, please. So a lot of what we're talking about, Dawn, should be on the agenda for special meeting in February, please. Okay, yeah, I mean, because traditionally, we've had summer projects, but the trash can painting was the one that took a bulk of it up. So yeah, definitely, if there were the small things like this that really got the commission's name out there to let people know that we are in existence,
Yeah.
let's do them, because they were very fun and they were very
Yeah, 'cause
easy.
we put like the
and-
ribbons on everything, so people
Mhm.
would see it and they go like, oh, it's the Arts and Culture Commission.
The photography contest that.
Well, there was photography part of it, like we selected from a photography, like from multiple categories, cause I think we had like 6 special prizes. And one of them was photography, one was, we did basically like each age group and like each thing, so we did like the sculptures and the,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the prize was like the series of like.
It was different art supplies, yeah. They basically got to like pick 2 of what they wanted or something like that, I think was how we did it.
It's not too much effort.
No, the biggest thing was just picking out the stuff and then going down there and judging it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple. Jenna said she was interested in it.
Oh, perfect.
Met with her before she got sick.
Yeah, we'll put that back on the table. So yeah, so again, I'll reach out to the other commissioners and just give them a brief, hey, we're considering some summer things too, so keep an eye on, get some feedback from them in February. The annual report, Patrick, do you know if either you, I was gonna say you or Jenna, have updated the PowerPoint presentation with the information from Trunk or Treat?
I don't know about that. no.
Okay.
That's on our Google Drive?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you need to get that because it happens in May.
Okay.
I look at Margaret like,
Have the date, because I have it in my
Oh,
calendar.
It's
we were
in my,
looking
it's in
to-
my email somewhere. I
I
wanna say
have like
May.
a couple pictures and then I think,
Cause we only need like 2.
and there was a photographer there, but I don't I'll have to reach out to them about getting the pictures if they have some.
I wouldn't stress too much about reaching out to the other photographer. If you have
Well, I know
photographs-
who it was, so I can reach
Yeah,
out to him.
if you have photos, perfect. We just need to show representation of activities that we've done
Yeah.
through the fiscal year. So, and I wanna jump ahead on that so we're
Mhm.
not scrambling last minute. And I'll take a look at it probably over the weekend just to see what needs to be done so I can present that in February to you guys. All right, I'm proud to say, I have scheduled almost the entire year of our Arts and Conversation meetings. So in February, El Tapatío will be our first one. That's actually gonna be held February 26th.
Okay.
Then, of course, because we discussed doing it every other month, the next one will be in April. And I need to speak to them, I need to go in and speak to them, but I'm hoping Roy Thai will be April's location. And that'll be April 15th. June, I've booked Sunshine Pizza.
15th, will everybody be doing their taxes last minute?
Yeah.
June 24th is that day. And you guys are gonna love this. For August, Art de Fay,
What's that?
the new little art shop next to the burrito restaurant.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay, cool.
Yeah, so she's confirmed for August 12th, and she's really excited. And then in October, Art Unwind, and she's also really excited. So I thought those two were gonna be some really good places to host these. Art Unwind, next to the flooring company, right diagonal from the, I was gonna say muchas gracias, Victorios, the I shouldn't say New Mexico restaurant, but yeah. And then that one will be October 21st, and then that's gonna be it for the year. Because November, December, it gets crazy with the holidays.
Yeah, it's too busy to get
And
people out.
I had one person show up in December, so, but because we already had put it out there, I wanted to stick with it, but
Mhm.
I think those are gonna be pretty good, and, I'm really excited that we were able to connect with the two local art,
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Businesses.
good partnership to
Yeah.
make.
and they're excited as well. So, what's really cool is when I spoke to both of them, I need to confirm with Art Unwind, but Art de Fay says she has like a bunch of scrap art, things that people can play with. Cause I told them that we try to have ART space DE space FAE. So I'm gonna try to hit up Roy Thai this week so I can get a confirmation for them, and then I'm gonna shoot Crystal all of the details. That way she already has everything, and then we can just, she does her thing. So sharing it on Facebook.
I have the contact information for the owner of Roy Thai. I think it's just on that spreadsheet. Lane Atrush.
Oh, if you can message that to me?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
somewhere there. Yeah, but I'll look for it and I'll send it to you.
Okay, fantastic. And then, let's see, this one's for you, Dawn. Is there any way that we can get meeting minutes sooner than the next meeting? And I'm only asking because what I'm seeing is when we come to our meetings, we do try to read the minutes before we get here. But I think some of us are forgetting what tasks we said we were gonna do. And so it will help me as a chair to do tasks, to-do lists, so I can remind everyone, hey, what's going on here? Hey, what's going on there? Because even I forget what everyone is
Hopefully we won't
supposed to
be
be.
gone for another week.
I know.
That's a good
Totally
idea,
get that.
though. And that's a good idea to do after any meeting, is just to summarize with a list
Yeah.
of action items.
Because, in all honesty, we have a fabulous secretary with Cycle Columbia County. She gets them to us like a week later.
Yeah.
And it helps me because then I'm like, okay, what the heck did I say I was gonna do for that?
Right, yeah, if you don't think
Because-
about it the next day.
Well,
so.
and this is just human nature. We get into our conversations and we forget to write stuff down. And yes, we try to watch the video, but that's why we have our minutes. So I would be truly appreciative, Dawn, if you could do that. And that would be amazing. Okay. So with that being said, is there any community news?
I have a couple of things.
Okay.
A week from this Saturday, February 8th, we're gonna to celebrate the 5th birthday of the St. Helens Public Library Ukulele Orchestra.
Aw.
And they have a little 30, 40-minute program that I saw them do recently at the Kiwanis Club about the history of the ukulele. And they have like a little blurb they read, and then they do a song from that decade, and then they move to the next decade, and they've got another song. And it's really, it's just fun. There are a lot of songs you might recognize and others that are, you don't know, but they're funny. And so they're gonna meet at 10:30 like they normally do and do their, their warm-ups and practice. But at 11:15, they'll do this history of the ukulele. And then at noon, we'll have birthday cake.
Nice.
So it's on a Saturday. The library's normally open 10 to 2, but feel free to come by. Even if you can't stay for birthday cake, just come by and listen to a little music. I can't believe it's been 5 years, but they have turned out to be real community ambassadors. I mean, they go to all kinds of events, assisted living centers, private events. They love to play, and lots of good things have happened since they came into existence. But now they have, once a month, they have what they call an extra hour, where they have like a special topic that somebody will teach or explore, and so there's a little extra learning going on. But they're just a fun group, and there's also a ukulele group at the Scappoose Public Library, and they sometimes meet together and attend each other's events and have potlucks, and so it's turned out to be a real point of social connection. So I just want to mark their 5th birthday. When they first came into existence in February of 2015, that May the library turned 100.
Oh, wow.
And so they had only been around for just a few months. But I asked them if they would come to the library's birthday and play Happy Birthday. And they got so excited about it. They all went out and got Hawaiian shirts and leis and started learning songs besides Happy Birthday. And they really just had only formed. But they played a whole suite of Hawaiian songs and things and had a lot of fun with it. So they've been a really great partner to the library and to the community. So that's February 8th at 11:15 for the special program. The other thing I just wanted to mention to you is the Columbia Arts Guild meets at the library every Thursday from 10 until 1. When the weather gets pretty, sometimes they just use that as a jumping off point to go out, sketching or painting outdoors or to visit a gallery or whatever. But they are a regular presence in the library, and at their last general meeting, they gave me a list of workshops that various artists wanted to put on. And the most recent one was a Altered Books workshop that the library hosted, because in February we have an Altered Book art show where people who have either attended the workshop and made something out of a book or just have done it on their own can showcase their works. So that's been going on for probably a good 5 years now. And so in February, we should carve out some display space for these items that get turned in. But they have other workshop ideas, and we have yet to schedule them. It's just a matter of contacting each artist and the availability of a meeting room. But they have ideas for workshops mostly in June and July. And so I know one of them is leather carving. I can't think of what the others are. One has to do with making some kind of a planter. But there are probably 5 or 6 ideas for these workshops, and different artists in their guild. One fellow who's a photographer is going to just have a short workshop in March, I believe, for how to cut mats for your artwork. So it's, you know, it's just a nice extension of what they are doing as individual artists. So those are the kind of the art things on the horizon that I know about.
Cool deal. All right, any other community?
I don't have anything.
All right, well then, we will go ahead and adjourn at 7:09. And then I'll get with Dawn and we'll get started on a special meeting for February. So, travel dates. I was gonna, we need to see what's
I'm
available.
not going in February,
Okay, so
so
that
I'm pretty
was,
open for Tuesdays.
all right, because we need to see when this bad boy is open and then I can get some dates confirmed.
Oh, before we part, I just want to thank Kim for working with the library staff on that RFP. That project languished, and we'd gotten kind of immune to seeing that book drop out there with a half-started project. And it was really nice to see that get off the ground, and I think she did a great job pulling that together and working with Michelle at the library. So I'm really think that was a nice